a little lump hammer, a couple taps. That's it, it's out. If you look inside there, there's the governor and the governor arm. That's all going to be coming out. Alright, at this point, block is bare. You can see all we got left is the bearing, the governor arm, and the governor itself, which is basically a plastic gear that runs off the crank that has a set of weights in it that springs out, and as it springs out, it takes this rod and pushes the rod to force the throttle backwards to slow it down, so to govern the speed and keep it around 3,700 RPM out of the box. We're going to be removing this. A lot of guys will sit here and pry and pick and take this whole thing apart just to get that clip off and remove it. I go a little bit easier and a little different route. I don't like to have anything inside the motor. So basically this is how I do it. Turn it upside down. If you see, there's the governor shaft right there that's pressed into the block. Use a punch, a little lump hammer, a couple taps. That's it, it's out. Turn it over. There's your whole governor assembly. And there you go. Now you see the governor is completely out, but there's a shim washer in there, and they do that when they manufacture these motors to set the clearance on that governor gear. And a lot of guys will take the governor gear off, get rid of the plastic part, leave the shaft, and forget about that washer that's in there sometimes. Take a magnet, pull it off, take it out. You don't want that thing bouncing around inside the motor after you put it all back together. So that's basically stripped out. Right here, take a pair of pliers, pull off this clip. Governor rod comes out, give it a little wiggle. And that too has a shim washer in it. Got to make sure you get that out. And there you can see the governor rod and washer. Make sure there's nothing else up in there, which there isn't, just some assembly lube when they built the motor. And I think they do that to hold the washer in place when they're building it on the assembly line. And that's it. So now it's basically bare. Well, what do you do with the holes? A lot of guys put nuts and bolts in them. I like to use a 1/4 by 1/2 inch bolt with a copper washer and some Loctite, and I run it in with the zip gun. It will self-thread into the block, seals, and it'll never come back out. This hole here you can do the same with, but I'm going to tap this and put a fitting on it for a breather and feed that up to the valve covers so it'll splash lubricate the top of the valve train. So that we're going to tap later on. In the meantime, we'll close this up, and I'll show you how I do it. Here's how I close up the governor hole. 1/4 by 1/2 inch length, bolt, 7/16 head, copper sealing washer. Buy a pack of these at Harbor Freight. Use them all the time. I use them for everything else too. Oil pan, drain plugs, stuff like that. And some Loctite. Take the Loctite, give us a little drop. That, like I said, that thread will self-cut into this aluminum casing. Get that started halfway. Little zip gun, and send her home. I don't like to bottom it out completely with the impact because you can't see it. I like to do the last 1/4 turn by hand. Check the washer. Give it another snug from That's it. It's done. Now, that washer will seal it from from the bolt to the block. And if you look on the inside, you can see it just barely sticks through, and it's held in with Loctite. It's going nowhere. I've never had one come out.